What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fight the Funk podcast. I'm your host, Magic Collins, aka Magic Man. And today I got a special guest as far as the mental health journey. One of my friends and someone I have been a peer-to-peer group facilitator with for about a year now. So I'm welcoming my friend, Jared Bendifallah. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good to see you. I
See you too.
just saw you yesterday.
Yes, every Saturday, every Thursday.
Yeah, man. So, I've been wanting to get you on here, man, because you have a unique perspective of mental health and culture and everything that's going on that has been going on. I'm excited to have you on, man. And
Excited to be here. Thank you.
yeah. So one of the things I would say with mental health, first off, I think there comes a period where you just know something's not right.
Yeah.
It's like where you can't put your finger on it. You're just like, what is this?
Sure.
Yeah, like what was that experience for you?
Okay, so even though I struggled with anxiety for most of my life, I always had structure in my life. So I was in high school, then I was in college. I had classes, I had friends, I had things to do. So I was a high functioning person with mental health troubles, with mental health anxiety. But it was after I graduated from UC San Diego, and basically I realized that the major I didn't want to do anything with. I majored in neuroscience at UC San Diego. And I realized I didn't want to go to med school and I didn't want to do scientific research.
Yeah.
So I sort of ended up not having any direction in life by the time I was 22, 23, getting out of college. And I ended up coming home. I ended up living at my parents' house and just not having any structure in my life, anything to orient myself. So basically the isolation, the being at home all the time, not having activities to do, it kind of just percolated over time. And at some point, my condition got a lot worse. And so things to like not socializing, spending a lot of time by myself in my room, not having any structure, not having any life goals. Those were all these things that kind of combined led to my mental health getting a lot worse.
What would you say, like, because I know you told me about you specifically picking a school that was out of your area just so you could be yourself or discover yourself.
Absolutely. I went to a private high school in Santa Monica, and I just felt like it was not a good place for me socially. Academically, it was fine, but socially, it just wasn't a very healthy place for me. And I felt like I was known as a certain person. I felt that I was labeled in a way. And so I chose to go to a university where not a single person from my high school class went there because I felt like I could create myself again and have a fresh start.
Okay. I like that you when you shared that with me, because I think a lot of people go through that, especially like if you're from a small town. And a lot of times,
basically, it was like living in a small town. I mean, it wasn't technically a town, but there were only 126 people in my grade. Everybody knows everybody. I still remember the last names of probably the majority of people I went to high school with. It's such a formative time in life. It's weird like that. But I really wanted to get away from everything. And I wanted to go to a place where I could have a fresh start.
Like, how would do you feel like that was effective for you?
Yeah, I would say I was really figuring things out my first year or two of college, but end of sophomore year, junior year, senior year, I kind of settled down and did end up making a lot of friends and having a good college experience. So I would say eventually it did work out for me.
Okay. And then what was so when you had your like anxiety and your own mental health challenges, what was that for you after college? Like what brought you, 'cause me and you are a peer-to-peer group facilitator, so what brought you to Nami?
Yeah, so it was August of 2019. I had just graduated from USC. I got my master's in urban planning, and I had two best friends for a couple years. One had moved back to the East Coast to live with his parents, and I had just had, I'm not going to go into it, but I just had a big fight with my other best friend who lived a block down. And so I kind of was looking to find a community. I was looking to make more friends because my two best friends, for different reasons, we weren't able to interact as much. So that's why I kind of looked up Nami, and I went to my first support group in August of 2019. I think we met in August of 2019 because I think I remember seeing you as a participant at one of those Tuesday night groups at Cedars-Sinai Hospital.
Yeah, that's where, yeah. I remember that.
I was just looking to make new friends, looking to meet new people.
And then, and I'll still say like those, I'm grateful for that period. And it is a sense of like kind of getting your footing, and understanding how your mind works. And I think that was, what do you feel like you learned since you joined NAMI and being a peer-to-peer group facilitator?
Well, I could answer that from the perspective of a facilitator, or the perspective is just somebody with a mental health diagnosis.
Let's start first with somebody with a mental health diagnosis.
I guess just being part of NAMI sort of normalizes the struggles in a good way, because everybody is going through depression or anxiety or
a litness of
conditions, a litness of experiences. Whereas in the rest of the world, don't really get to talk about that too much. So it kind of normalized the experience, and I felt like it was a group of people where I could fit in because we had all been through things. We had all been through really difficult time periods of our lives. So there was just sort of a connective glue without saying anything, I feel, that helped to make friends at NAMI. Because we had all been through it in different ways.
Yeah. And I feel like I felt that just from like the first few days of like, oh, these people understand like mental health. You know, it's like just being a person and like we both say it, but everybody, if you breathe and you have some kind of mental health challenge. Sure. But we've all kind of come to that place where we've acknowledged our own mental health challenges.
Sure.
So it does turn into an environment where it's like, we can talk about this, and it's a place that's a created space where you can allow time for it. Yeah.
And I would even, I used to, before COVID, I used to have people over for board game nights, and we can have casual conversations about medications and side effects.
Yeah.
And that's just not that's not typical of normal society, is to have a conversation about what medications are you taking and how are the side effects.
Yeah, and
is it working for you?
Yeah, I feel like that's what's amusing to me, because I forget now that like I love mental health. Like that's my passion, and as far as like how that matches and how that comes together is still a process. But it's like, being a part of NAMI, being a part of like with our groups, and then kind of going further with that is like, it kind of reminds me of that, like, oh, we all kind of enjoy this journey. Like I think I told Christine, who's also a mutual friend, that it's a lot like this nerding out. Like we nerd out to
Sure.
You know, it's like it's something that it's impactful. It helps save lives, and you know, it's debatable, but there's a spiritual aspect to it. And something that I feel like grounds us in purpose. And now, what would you say as far as your journey with mental health? How has that kind of how has your journey as a facilitator? What have you kind of learned on that journey?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I get so much out of facilitating. It feels it's so satisfying and rewarding to me just to be in that role because I get to help other people. I get to be of service. And I feel like it requires active listening. It requires being a good listener. It requires being kind and helpful to people. And those are qualities that I have, not to be bragging, but I just feel like those are things that I do well. And so it's helped with my confidence as well, because I feel like I'm in a position where I can excel at. And then I just really enjoy the groups themselves and creating an environment for people to help each other.
Now what do you feel like was, I always feel like when you go into something you don't really know, like there's the green aspect where you're like, you don't really know what you're getting into until you start. What has been some of the surprising positive parts of, I mean, you shared that with me already, as far as the learning, the listening skills, and what else would you say has been like kind of a surprising benefit or byproduct of being a peer-to-peer group facilitator?
I mean, it just gives me a sense of fulfillment and purpose in my life. It really does.
And then what would you say, like, for somebody that's trying to be a peer group facilitator, what would you say is a challenge, some of the challenges?
Sure. Time management. Seriously. I mean, we have an hour and a half, and I would say time management and reading the group dynamics and figuring out how as a facilitator and a leader, I have to keep the meeting moving. But I also want to listen to everybody, and I want everybody to feel seen and heard and supported. So sometimes that can be a little bit difficult to balance. Because we've got an hour and a half, and sometimes there are 20 people, 25 people. And so that's a challenge in and of itself, is to keep us going, keep us moving, but at the same time, make sure everybody is seen and heard and supported.
Now, and how long did you say it kind of took you to get used to that?
So I started off shadowing you and Garrett in August of 2019. Sorry, August of 2020. August of 2020 is when I was shadowing you and Garrett on the meetings that you two were doing. And I just started out by taking notes when people were sharing. All right. And then I think after that, you or Garrett said, "Hey, Jared, why don't you lead a topic discussion after the check-ins?" So then I did that. And that kind of just slowly but surely built up my confidence and gave me a little bit more responsibility. And then Garrett and I started the Saturday group in October of 2020. And then for other reasons, a couple of the facilitators by the end of 2020 had, for personal reasons, they had to walk away from facilitation for the time being. So suddenly I was thrust into doing 3 groups a week. Which is, I love it. I like it. It's a lot though. But I would say probably around November, December maybe is when I started to really start to feel more confident in my ability to lead a group, to keep it moving, to listen to people, to lead a topic, kind of.
I think I was gonna say that, where it's like I feel like with and I just want to give a shout out, Matt from our group, one of our peer groups is on here. He said, "What's up?"
Hey Matt.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt out there listening. Thanks for listening in, Matt. And I would, what would you say as far? And Matt, man, if you want to ask a question or put something out there, feel free, man. Good to see you. Now, is there anything that you would say? Because I think that's part of it, where I like that you said it took you some time to get your footing or get confidence. I feel like with any of these situations, when you step into that kind of role, you do have to. There's a learning curve.
Oh, for sure.
Now, how long do you feel like it took you to get to that learning curve?
Again, I would probably say if I started shadowing you in August of 2020, it was probably December of 2020, maybe January of 2021, when I really just started to pick things up. And even though I still get nervous when it's a Tuesday night and I'm waiting and there's 25 people, I kind of have done it so many times now that it's almost second nature, and I'm able to lead the group.
I feel like it's kind of like teachers, like where it's there is a sense of you're conducting and figuring out who everybody's needs within that group dynamic.
Right.
Now how have you learned like working with different personality types? Because that is
I mean, part of it is just knowing like what different people prefer and what different people are going through and their challenges and their struggles. And just kind of, also I would say I've learned to put less pressure on myself to solve whatever people are going through. And that's helped tremendously, because I know that's not my role. It's to solve the problem. My role is just to create a space for people in group to help each other and occasionally to share something, but I would burn out quickly.
Yeah.
If I really thought that I have to make what somebody's going through go away, or give them that beautiful nugget of wisdom that changes everything. Sometimes it just doesn't go that way.
Yeah, and I like that because I remember when me and you first started working together, like that's kind of was really, I feel like our focus where we were trying to solve.
Right. You can't.
Yeah. I remember like the late night of us trying to figure things out.
Right.
And it's like we gotta create the space. I enjoy like what you just said as far as that's the goal, like create the space. Try to create that group wisdom as people are on their journey in life.
And sometimes, honestly, it's the biggest part of the healing is people just feeling like they're not alone. I might not have the answers for you. Maybe it's better to talk to a therapist or psychiatrist. But coming to group, they know that they're not alone because 5 other people have gone through the same thing or a similar thing.
Yeah, and I think, have you noticed that where it's like somebody that starts week 1 and then fast forward like 4 or 5 months, is like you can kind of see that shift as far as them wanting to share more or be a part of it more.
Sure, and then people bond with each other and get to know each other. I mean, all the time I hear, "Hey, I just want to be here. I don't have much to say tonight, but I just want to be here with you guys and listen to everybody."
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the like one of the things we do is read out the guidelines.
Sure. And the principles.
The principle of support. And I think that's part of the I really enjoy that framework, because it allows people to be like, okay, I can share my story, and it's not because I've noticed in some of our groups where some people would feel less inclined to share because they didn't feel like theirs was as important.
Right. And it's important as a facilitator to be like, no. Like you have 2 to 3 minutes to share. This is your time. This is your time.
Now, what would you say as far as for yourself? Like, what's kind of now you have a solid year under your belt. You're facilitating three groups a week. What's your goals? Like, what do you see yourself doing moving forward?
With Nami?
With Nami, just in general, like life in general, but where you're at, how do you see yourself? Like, you have a passion for facilitating, or being a peer-to-peer group facilitator.
Well, I hope to keep facilitating 3 groups a week if I can. If it goes down to 2, so be it. But I hope to keep doing this for a long time. I hope to teach the Nami peer-to-peer class again. I finished teaching it a couple months ago with Britt Britt Turpak. And that was an interesting experience. It's very different than the facilitation.
Yeah.
So I hope to keep doing that. And I hope to eventually get the training for In My Own Voice or Ending the Silence with Nami and do that as well.
Okay.
Right now I'm working as a peer crisis counselor for an organization called Cal Voices. So we're just helping people who are struggling because of COVID-19 with stress and anxiety. So I just started that job, and that job goes to early August. Okay. But then I'm also hoping to do public speaking. So I just joined Toastmasters a couple months ago. And so I'm hoping to experiment with different speeches related to mental health and see what sticks, and eventually do some public speaking related to mental health.
Okay. Nice, man. Nice.
And then I'm also thinking about doing a podcast, which I think I'm going to call Mental Health Champions. And I want to just interview people in the mental health space, mental health advocates, and just get their knowledge, their wisdom.
Now, what I told you about that, man. I think it's a great idea. Now, talk to me a little bit about that podcast idea.
Sure. I mean, when I was in college, I had a similar idea from a different subject. I worked for the sustainability office at my university. And what I did was I created a blog, and I got the stories of students on campus who were doing things to improve the environment at UC San Diego. And it was just a collection of stories. So I like kind of compiling the wisdom and expertise of different people. So with this podcast idea, which I think I'm going to call Mental Health Champions, I want to interview people who are basically champions in the mental health space in different ways. So many people find different ways of healing, different ways of recovery. And I just want to kind of expose listeners to so many different perspectives and coping skills and ways of recovery, so that they can pick up what they like and what resonates with them. And so that hopefully it can help them or inspire them to continue on their recovery.
Nice, man. What now, what are some of your coping skills?
I would say journaling. I journal a lot, almost every day. And I take a lot of walks. And I stay involved with Nami.
Yeah.
That's also a coping skill because it gives me structure. And I go to the group. I even go to the Wednesday night group as a participant because it helps me to be socially connected even during COVID-19 when I'm not in person with people. So I would say just keeping the social interaction there, journaling. I also have a therapist, and I also have a spiritual advisor. Nice. So combined, all those things help a lot.
Now, well, that goes to the cocktail, like where we talked about it before, where it's like, to me, it's not one thing, but it's like that. What's your combination? And that takes years to figure out.
Sure.
So yours is like a therapist and a spiritual advisor.
Yeah, I've got support in different ways from them, and I journal, and I take a lot of walks. I spend some time in nature. And I try and stay connected through Nami socially.
Okay, so you might hug a tree every now and then.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. I took a walk around UCLA last night and hugged a tree.
Nice, man. Nice. Oh, you forget you live close to UCLA.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what now for? I would say anybody that's kind of looking to get like that might be kind of wondering like, what is something going on with me? Like, how would you kind of share that? Like when you were that person that didn't really have a diagnosis, but you knew it was something up. Like, how would you kind of help them be like, it's okay to get help, or it's okay to start reaching out?
I mean, I guess first I would just acknowledge their feelings that it can be scary to get help, but sometimes we all need help, and it's okay, especially for men. Sometimes men don't like to ask for help. But I think it's important. I wouldn't be here if I didn't get help, if I hadn't gotten help. I wouldn't. But I would say just embrace incremental progress and take small steps.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a support group, see how it feels.
Yeah.
Maybe don't even talk, just listen. That's a step forward. And then next time go and maybe share for a minute. Just do small things. Take small steps. Don't have to go from A to Z right away. It's too intimidating. It's too much. I would just say take small steps. And if you take small steps, you can move forward in the right direction.
Nice, man. That's going to be a soundbite. I like that.
All right.
No, I was like, because that's the whole thing where I feel like with mental health,
take it a day at a time too is something that you and I have talked about as well.
Yeah. Because there is that sense of trying to figure it out and keep in patchwork. Like you're trying to patch yourself up and keep going. It's like, but it's a process. And
it's a process.
Yeah. So I like that, man. Like that.
It's a process. Just like if I am playing piano and I'm trying to learn a new piece, I have to learn it measure by measure. Or if I'm weightlifting, right, I learn it. I do it set by set, repetition by repetition, and over time I make progress. Over time I get stronger. Same thing with mental health. Recovery is not like this. Recovery is like, some dips and valleys, but just start moving in the right direction.
Nice, man. And then so what would you up? Somebody's here. Okay. Well,
commercial break.
We interrupt this cast for oh man. So now so with that, so I've enjoyed Who Let the Dogs Out. Exactly, man. Exactly. But
commercial break sponsor.
Yeah, this is sponsored. It's sponsored. So now with everything you got going, how are you kind of bracing or how are you moving forward? Like as things change with the pandemic.
Well, I'm getting I learned only a month ago that people with a mental health diagnosis can actually qualify as a special population at risk, so they can get their vaccination earlier. Of course, now it's past April 15th, so every Californian can get a vaccination. But I'm getting my second vaccination next Monday, and I'm actually moving. I've been living by myself in Santa Monica for 5.5, 6 years. And that's been really helpful for healing too, because I can be in my own space and feel my emotions as they come up. But I'm moving soon with some friends from Nami. And I'm hoping to keep facilitating with Nami and start working on public speaking and the podcasting. That's kind of where I see myself going.
All right, nice, man. And then like if people want to get in contact with you or reach out or any of that good stuff, like how would you
I mean, it's funny. I mean, this is something I'll have to do, but I don't really have like a online presence right now. I have an Instagram account, but I don't post to it.
Yeah.
I usually just follow other people. But at some point, I'm gonna be actually publishing a podcast called Mental Health Champions, most likely. Probably gonna do what you're doing is use Anchor and put it on there.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to use Toastmasters as a testing ground to try out different ideas related to mental health for speeches and see kind of what sticks, what makes sense, what resonates with people. Okay. And eventually, I want to talk about mental health. Commercial break.
All right, so we'll close it on this. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I love making pesto sauce for pasta pesto.
All right, well, thank you, Jared, for being on, man. And
Thank you, Magic.
And then the dog closing it down.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll share this with you. Thanks, man.
Sounds good, man. All right. Bye.